Hello everyone and welcome to this week's edition of Reino de las Máscaras, the Kingdom of the Masks. I'll be blunt, I'll be right up front with everybody. I do not have a mask this week to show off. On a normal week, I would say, I would shrug my shoulders and say creative block, writer's block, whatever you want to say. This week is not that week though. It's been a rough week for wrestling fans, an absolutely rough week. Starting off Wednesday with the news of the passing of one Terry Funk, absolute legend, the epitome of the term living legend, in my humble opinion. And it's hard to put into words exactly what his legacy means to pro wrestling as a whole. I don't know right off the top of my head, but I would imagine at some point in his 50-year career, he wrestled somewhere in Mexico. I don't have that off the top of my head. Obviously, far, far more well-known his roles in All Japan Pro Wrestling, as well as the NWA with Ric Flair, ECW, all kinds of legendary moments with Terry Funk. And it's hard, sorry, I'm tinkering with something here off camera, trying to get something to sit here. The legacy that he leaves, former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, one of, him and Dory Funk Jr., the only brothers to have held the championship. And I'm talking off the top of my head here, but I'm 90% sure that both Dory and Terry had a year-long plus reign as the world's heavyweight champion. So that kind of rocked us all on Wednesday. And then yesterday's absolutely out of nowhere shot to the gut in terms of the passing of Bray Wyatt. Bray, I didn't have NXT when it was right around the time of the Wyatt family forming. I did not have, I believe then it was still WWE On Demand. The network hadn't come out yet. And I remember thinking to myself, this is different. This is something completely different from what they have been doing overall on WWE television. And I got excited. And when the promo started airing for their debut, I started getting really excited. The vignettes that they did to bring them in were next level. I mean, remember, the night they debuted and they went to the sanctuary, the compound, whatever you want to call it. The first thing you see is Eric Rowan going to town with a pickaxe on nothing. He's just swinging and hitting the ground. And then the camera turns to Luke Harper leading the person behind the camera into there, and the camera pans over and Rowan's gone. And then you get into the house itself, and I'm not a horror movie viewer, but that was just like top level stuff. The camera turns and then it turns back and there's Bray out of nowhere. The promo where he's talking about Sister Abigail is one of the most incredible and haunting promos I've seen in the last 10, 20 years. But the way he made everything work, the way he made certain things work, like The Fiend. You put The Fiend on almost any other person on the roster at that time, and it goes nowhere. It's a laughing stock. When The Fiend had the first match and he came out to the Code Orange song, and he's carrying the lamp, and he comes in, and after he was there and was done, my wife looked over to me and said, "This is what wrestling is all about." And it was incredible. We got to see Bray in Minneapolis for TLC, and it was the first time he had wrestled as Firefly Funhouse Bray, and it was different. You know, we were hoping to see The Fiend, honestly. Not to sidetrack, but I know at the time they were talking that they didn't want to show The Fiend all the time and make it special. And then it's funny because that pay-per-view is the only pay-per-view that The Fiend did not appear on. So it's kind of like, you look back on it and you're like a little salty about that. But it was just the little things, the little touches. You know, he comes out as Firefly Funhouse Bray, and he's waving to the crowd, he's smiling, he's doing his hand gestures. And I don't know if it ever got on camera, but the greatest moment I took away from that was he's happy Bray, he's shaking hands, he's high-fiving at the fans, and he gets to the announce table to climb up and to pose on there. And he climbs up and he looks dead in the eye of Michael Cole with the most evil look on his face. And it was just like, it's that reminder that the Funhouse Bray, the happy, smiling, waving Bray, it was a facade. It was a facade. You know, it's like he's happy, happy, happy. And then he's back to happy, and it's just like, oh my God, where are they going to go with this? Obviously, sorry, itch there. Obviously, in a normal circumstance, the thing for me to do would be to show off a Fiend mask, but I don't have one. I never did get one. The closest ones I would say I have would probably be the Psycho Circus masks, but I'm going to cover those kind of in a I'm planning on covering those in their own video, since I've got a couple of Psycho Clown masks and a Murder Clown and a Monster Clown. I'm probably going to do those kind of around Halloween probably, but yeah, I mean, as wrestling fans, we kind of become accustomed to hearing about deaths. We do, you know, it's one of those things that's, I don't want to say it's become commonplace. I don't want to say we get used to it, because we never really do get used to it. But ones like Bray hit a lot harder. They hit a little bit. They hit a little bit harder because he's 36 years old. That's my wife's age. That's not much younger than me. And you know, probably the last time a death hit, you know, I'd say me this hard was probably Brody Lee in 2020. You know, the Funker, it's kind of odd because it's like he's been around for ages. You feel like he's going to be there forever. You know in the back of your head that he's a man, just like every one of us. But you feel like he's going to live forever. And you know, Sheik too. You know, Sheik was up there in age. She lived a long, fulfilling life. But I mean, yeah, this year's been a kicker. This year's been an absolute kicker. You know, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Jay Briscoe's passing. You know, Jay's my age too. So yeah, I'll be perfectly honest. I just kind of wanted to use this week as a little bit of a platform for me to speak my feelings, get my feelings off my chest, off my mind. So thank you all for listening. I'm not going to plug the show. I'm not going to plug masks. I'm not going to plug anything this week. You know where to find me: Instagram, Twitter, here. Yeah, it's been a tough week. We'll try and get back to business as usual next week for the show. But again, thank you all for listening. if anybody needs somebody to talk to, I'm here. Instagram, Twitter, message me there. I know some of you know me from Discord. Message me. I'm here. I am available. To quote Shane Strickland on Twitter, we need to stop coming together only when something happens. You know, I'm a wrestling fan. I'm not a strictly WWE fan. I'm not strictly a AEW fan. I'm not strictly a Lucha fan. I'm not strictly a Pyro fan. I'm a fan of wrestling. And it's time, I don't want to soapbox it here, so I'll make this short, but it's a long time that we stop arguing about the bullshit. And I apologize for the language if we've got any kids watching. I do try to keep this across the board family friendly. That's the only time I'm going to swear today. So, you know, we need to start treating each other right, and not just when we come together when something happens. So let's be kinder, and, you know, let's remember the good times. You know, I've put a couple of posts on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll just quote it here. You know, we're really glad you were our friend, and this is a friendship that will never, ever end. So, peace. Rest in peace, Bray. Rest in peace, Funker. And all the families affected and everything. We're with you. See everybody next week.